Hey again. I apologize. If you're watching right now, I hope you didn't just get kicked off of the stream before it could have really even begun. But welcome to PGN Live. I have yet to verify, am I live? Yeah, I think the last one somehow got accidentally booted, and I hope you didn't just. The couple of people that were here, because I saw a couple of people in here, I think you just probably lost access to the stream. So here we are again. Although now the people that were here, okay, cool. Now you're all back. Well, you all, so far, Crazy Scoth is here. So welcome. So like I said earlier, good, we are live. Okay, good. Thanks for confirming. All right. This is looking okay. Yeah, the last one died. I don't know what happened. On my end, right here it said live, and then the end stream thing went away, and like end stream goes away when you are not live, right? Or whatever. Anyways, sorry. I'm a little bit flustered because I'm not sure like what happened there. But anyhow, this morning's show was fun. Boom Mini, welcome back. Pokemon Fan 34, welcome back. So you're here for round 2. Who's here for the PGN Marathon? Yes. Apparently we're doing this thing. Which is honestly fun. Like, I could go for a chat with you all every day, you know? Liking those emojis. Good, good, good. Yeah. So let me explain a little bit. Just take you through my day, why am I doing this? Why did I do that? You know, earlier, for those that didn't, right, for now, we are alive. Knock on wood or knock on your head. Earlier, you have storms in your area, Pokemon Fan 34. Well, I hope you're safe. Stay safe. Could be scary. So hopefully you don't, like, lose internet connection. Or more importantly, like, water and power and just, in general, stay safe. But, yeah. Earlier today, I just got a email recommendation from YouTube to try out YouTube Live Vertical. So I thought, well, iPhone's easy enough to set up, go vertical like this on my tripod, and boom, just talk. You see that? We got into a good Star Fox discussion earlier today, and you know I love Star Fox, so that's my R-Wing background, willing into the existence that Star Fox may come back. Power is your main worry. Yeah, you know, you've got to get let's see. You got to get a nice solar-powered battery bank to connect to your Nintendo Switch 2. So at the very least, you'll be able to have good gaming. And that power bank also capable of charging up your smartphone. So your smartphone can serve as a, what's it called? Hotspot. So you've got your internet off your phone, the internet for the Nintendo Switch 2, so the Nintendo Switch 2 could connect to the internet to play online gaming. So there you go. Power. Psh, you don't need anything else. Well, you do, but you know what I mean. Like, at least you have a little bit of video game entertainment, right? But yeah, the vertical stream worked out pretty well today. It was fun. And I don't know if YouTube recommended it to me because they are recommending it to all content creators, or because they're like, hey, you've had success with your daily countdowns, and your countdowns were all shorts in this vertical nature, so why not continue? So I went for it. And actually, there were a good, like, 272 viewers, so I was a little bit surprised of just how many. But maybe the YouTube algorithm is pumping out to people that watch shorts, hey, check out this one dude that's streaming right now and see if you like it. It's a video game channel. Maybe it'll fit your vibe. I don't know. But right now I decided, let me hop back on for a little bit because that one was just spur of the moment. Then again, all of them have been random and not fit to a schedule yet. But this one right now, in the normal horizontal format, I'm at my desktop in the game room. And now you can see I did a little bit of something off to the, well, my left. I guess your right. I don't know how you're viewing it. But there it says PGN Live. And then top super chat and top gifted, because for folks that did stuff in the past, a donation, a membership, Boo Mini this morning, for instance, although in a vertical you can't do these kind of graphics, but like in yesterday's stream, for instance, Boo Mini kind enough to give a gifted membership, and I'd like to give you a little bit of a highlight, give you a visual thanks throughout the rest of the stream or something like that. Same with the top super chat. If someone did, Mr. Black, for instance, has done a $5 one before, yesterday, in fact, I'd like to give a little bit of a shout out, a little bit of a thanks. We need a countdown to get us to the next countdown. Yeah, Boo Mini, we do. I actually have... I could announce it today. I could announce it today. There are 2 countdowns. They're going to be done a little bit differently, but I could tell you what they are and when both are going to start and how I'm going to tackle both. So maybe I'll do that today. We'll see. I guess that's a little bit of a tease, perhaps. You know when the next direct is? No, I don't. I have my guesses, which I guess are as good as anyone's. I guess that's a little... Part of that entails a little bit of hope. Part of it, educated guess, but yeah. More or less hope, I suppose. Not full-on hopium, but yeah, a little bit of hope. No, the next 2 countdowns are for something a little bit different. Yeah, we have Switchforce talking about it. And it looks like, according to him, he will have some information to share. Either that's when he's anticipating getting it, or that's when he's just simply going to reveal it, at his own discretion, later in August. So presumably in a week or 2, just to be safe, call it the last week of August, he's going to share when in September we should look out for. So I'm going to say end of the month. Hey everybody, stay tuned. September blank, we're going to get blank or something like that. End of the month, he said on X. Yeah, I saw that circulating. Let me ask you in the chat, because yesterday we had a really good conversation, and it was largely, well, you asking me what I want to see and stuff like that. Let me ask you, what would you like to see? Pokemon Fan 34, Boo Mini. What would you like to see in the Nintendo Direct? Be unrealistic, be realistic, however you want to go about it. Have some fun. And anyone else watching too, of course. Crazy Scoth, Chris Lanzer. Let's hear it if you have it. I also realized, and see, this is all still fairly experimental. Today's stream was simply labeled PGN Live. The ones before have it PGN Live, and then like Nintendo Talk, Nintendo Direct, Rumor, etc. So I imagine that plays a pretty big difference in the YouTube algorithm when you're typing things. You don't know necessarily to type PGN Live because it's too new of a name that you're not looking for it. But if you're looking for Nintendo news, Nintendo Direct speculation, video game talk, that's what you're typing for, right? So I'll have to continue tinkering. Let's see. Oh, in the Direct, I thought you meant the channel. I'd like to see a tease for Pikmin 5. Ooh. A tease for Pikmin 5. If you look at when Pikmin 4 came out, I mean, it was summer of 2023, so we're at 2 years. Getting a tease for that would be pretty cool. Coming in, like 2 years later. I guess you could say Pikmin 5, little logo, little bit of moving art. You could even show less than you did with Kirby Air Riders and say 2026, and then do like a Pikmin 4 Nintendo Switch 2 edition, and it have improved visuals, greater frame rate, an extra mode or an extra section of the world to explore, kind of like how Kirby and the Forgotten Land is getting. And that would be kind of cool, like keep Pikmin relevant with getting more sales out of a game that's only 2 years old, and hype up a little bit Pikmin 5. I think Pikmin 5 is on the way eventually. I don't know if it'll happen early in the generation or not, but we'll see. But they're not done with Pikmin. Nintendo cares about Pikmin too much. I think it's one of the titles that they really would like to be a pillar, that Mr. Miyamoto has a lot of love for, that just never hit the global levels of fame the way that he and probably they intended. So they're not done with Pikmin. Brian C. Hey. Chris Lanzer. Of course, a new Zelda game. Okay. What kind of new Zelda game would you like? New as in completely brand new. New 3D Zelda. The next proper entry in the franchise. That next Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom style Zelda game, but new Hyrule, new world, new timeline, something totally different like Majora's Mask, like a new big proper 3D Zelda. Something like an HD 2D remake of A Link to the Past. A full-on glorious remake of Ocarina of Time or Twilight Princess. Or a new top-down 2D, 3D inspired game like Echoes of Wisdom, but still a new. Or what else? What kind of new Zelda would you most like? Chris Lanzer. And anybody. Pokemon Fan 34. Gale of Darkness, Pokemon, or Coliseum in September. So you really want one of those two, huh? Or both. Sooner or later. Animal Crossing tease? Yeah, if you were if you were going by beat 'em ups, Wood, Hawker, and his Animal Crossing tease in his Nintendo Direct, that's what we would have gotten, towards the end of July, but that's obviously not the case. Animal Crossing, definitely happening on Nintendo Switch 2. It's bigger than it ever has been. That's the case with a lot of Nintendo IP, like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Luigi's Mansion 3, Mario Kart 8, Super Mario Odyssey, The Legend of Zelda, The Breath of the Wild. All are entries in their respective franchises that sold the most amount of copies ever. Super Mario Party, Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet being the second highest selling Pokemon games ever, Animal Crossing New Horizons. These are all franchises that they're going to come back, and they're going to come back hard on Nintendo Switch 2, I think. New Yoshi game or a port of Woolly World for Mario Direct if they are doing 2 directs. Yeah. Yoshi's connected enough, obviously, to Mario that if you're having a Super Mario Bros. 40th anniversary direct, or in a normal Nintendo Direct, you could drop a Yoshi's Woolly World port. It's been a long time since we've had that game release on Wii U. I don't know if I like Woolly World better or Crafted World, but they're both really good games. Woolly World was really neat because you had so many different unlockable Yoshi's Woolly World skins from all of your amiibo. And that was cute and fun. And the game had a nice vibe, really high quality music. That soundtrack was beautiful. It's been a while since I played it, but I liked Yoshi's Woolly World quite a bit. So give that a port to Nintendo Switch 2. It's one of those games from that era. You know, there's not a whole lot left. You've got Star Fox Zero. You had Xenoblade Chronicles X. So there's just a couple left. Super Mario or Paper Mario Color Splash. That's another one. You still have a few. Let's see. I'd like to see it be a little darker, a bit more story, and similar gameplay to Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom, Boo Mini. Yeah. There's nothing that hits quite as hard as Zelda. I mean, for me, the thing that gets me the most hyped is that next new big 3D Zelda game and that next new big 3D Mario. Those are my top 2 franchises of Nintendo's, right alongside Street Fighter. Like, every new numbered Street Fighter game is pure hype for me. I love it. Like, I'm having a lot of fun with Street Fighter 6. I hope they take their time. We've got new characters coming through late spring of 2026. Sagat just came out. We'll have a new stage, 3 new characters between, you know, the end of this summer into fall, spring, next spring, late spring, I should say. And then they'll probably have a 4th wave, maybe a 5th wave. And by then, the game will be several years old. Let it continue a little bit longer, maybe release some new mode or some new stages or one more surprise, and then start looking at Street Fighter 7. What's to come? Anyways, I love Street Fighter 2. Zelda, Mario, Street Fighter. My top 3 franchises. I think to me the most exciting part is, I don't know what I would like. I just love being surprised by what Nintendo gives us. Yeah, Brian C. We won't get that till 2030, Pokemon fan? Is that a brand new Zelda you mean? I think that's what you meant, based off of how far back. Yeah. Robbie Rains, hi. Hi. Boo Mini, I'm afraid that if they make too many changes to Zelda games, it'll show that Nintendo is losing their way. I hope they keep what makes Zelda, Zelda. You know, I think looking back, or, depending on how you look at it, you could see each Zelda as the proper evolution to the series, either as it's happening or later on, you know, in retrospect. But as they're coming out, there are definitely some that say this is too big of a departure. And then retroactively either have that as their answer, yeah, that was too big of a departure, or not. I don't know. Mr. Black, what happened to the first live? It crashed? I don't know. It was weird. It was live for like 57 seconds, and then all of a sudden my end stream notification ended, which means the stream ended because it wouldn't have said, hey, click here to end the stream. We're talking about Zelda right now. And it's like, look at the change between Zelda and Zelda 2. Purely top-down to side-scrolling with top-down. And go into that pairing of A Link's Awakening A Link to the Past, top down again. The 16-bit one, obviously, a bigger, more realized take. And then go Ocarina of Time. 3D, a jump in every different angle, but you could say proper evolution of the series, going off of SNES, going off of NES, but do you call Zelda 2 a deviation? I don't know. Majora's Mask, similar thing in terms of graphics and camera angle and that kind of thing, the same as Ocarina, but not in Hyrule, deviation. Different masks for different abilities, different characters to play as Link in this form and that and stuff like that. Deviation. Wind Waker, primarily water-based, with a sail, not a horse, not just running on land. A little bit of a deviation, although the graphics, a step up, just an evolution of the Ocarina formula, kind of like how Link to the Past was an evolution of the OG Zelda formula. Twilight Princess, different graphical change, but more akin to Ocarina. Skyward Sword, different change in how you play, physically. Aiming, there was no non-aiming motion version at the time, whereas Twilight Princess had a GameCube and a Wii build, and Skyward Sword heavily on flight. And you go into Breath of the Wild, open. Well, Ocarina was open for its time, but this is more open, utilizing the technology. A little bit of a less focus on dungeons and more on micro dungeons. Are these all natural progressions, too far of deviations, or just what makes a series special is that, hey, you're always going to have a little bit of the familiar that you know and love, but we're never going to give you the exact same formula because we want the series to be known for a combination of this is what makes Zelda special, the things you like, but what also makes it special is expect the unexpected because we've got a lot of ideas up here that we want to share with you. And I think that's kind of Zelda. I'm excited as can be though for the next 3D Zelda. I want Peach your dog and Mario your cat in the new Mario game. Pokemon Fan 34, I think that would be fantastic. Peach and Mario, 2-player co-op, have them jumping off of each other, putting their little paws on the side of the cliff to help one another out, getting the other one riled up to activate their power, so you kind of like do this whole sibling pestering thing to Mario or to Peach, and then that will activate their power. Dang, you're giving me ideas that if I were a video game developer, I could come up with a pretty fun 2D side-scrolling adventure of Mario and Peach, but a very different Mario and Peach, Say Brian C. I really enjoyed Tears a lot more than Breath of the Wild. I put BOTW in my top 50 games ever, but Tears is like a top 3. Wow, that's a big difference. That's cool. That's cool. Interesting that, good that you like both. I like both. I love both. But interesting that one is like a top 3 and the other one, great, but like a top 50. Both are in, terrific territory. If you've been playing games for a while, you've probably played a few hundred games in your life. So top 50 is like not bad at all. Top 100, if you've played 500, is still top 20%, right? Like that's still a good place to be. But that's kind of interesting that they're that different in placement. But cool. Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom is great. I gave that game a 10 when I reviewed it. In some ways, it's better than Breath of the Wild. In other ways, I do like Breath of the Wild more. I give more props overall to Breath of the Wild, but yeah, I love both. I consider Zelda 2 one of the hardest Zeldas, yeah. I tried playing it recently on NSO I didn't do super well. It's been a while since I've beat that one. A lot of that is maybe the vision is always the same. It's just how much can they push their own vision with the current technology. Yeah. Yeah, Zelda is a really important one for Nintendo. And I know we have seen more and more over the years that, all right, it looks more and more like story isn't the main concern, and we've even heard that it's not. But they care enough to make a good story, to make likable characters and, a love interest, whether it's the potentially romantic side between Link and Zelda or Link and Midna or the brother sister bond of Link and Errol or Link and Errol's grandma and them, and like different heart to heart moments. Uh, yeah, Zelda never disappoints me in terms of its story, its gameplay, its whole vibe, the music. It's always some of the best, though. Let's see. BOT Dub and TOTK are my top Zeldas, even though I played probably 500 hours on the first ever Zelda. Wow. And I put over 750 hours in Breath of the Wild and 320 in Tears of the Kingdom. Man, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah, Zelda games are some of my most played in terms of overall like franchise devotion. Some of the most played probably. And like per single entry when it comes to Breath of the Wild, that is one of the most played games I've ever played. Like, since logging in hours became a thing on consoles, that's one of the top ones. Although I'm a bit of a numbers guy, as you may or may not know, so in the past, I would do something like that too. I used to log down my hours of games that I played out of curiosity, log down my gameplay sessions, and kind of helped out with math. A lot of, 212 and 357 is what? And okay, 569. Okay, so that's 6 hours and 9 minutes, etc. Like all these numbers. It's kind of like counting calories for martial arts and weightlifting and development and body fat loss and muscle gaining and adding weight and increasing by what percentages and stock market analysis and looking at trends and how much things are going up or down. Like numbers in general, I like. I just happen to like numbers the most when they do with video game sales, technological advancements, hours tracked of gaming, stock market trends, and then calories slash weightlifting and exercises and monitoring improvements in speed, push-ups and strength and all that stuff. Yeah. The story is a difference for me. God of War and then Ragnarok is very similar, and I love the story in Ragnarok. Yeah. I like the God of War franchise a lot. That's a good question that I'm just kind of posing myself. What would be my favorite PlayStation franchise? It might be God of War. I think Uncharted is absolutely up there, but Uncharted seemingly is done. Naughty Dog has moved on. They went from Uncharted to The Last of Us, and we'll see if we have another The Last of Us in the future, but they're going on to their next Interstellar game. But Uncharted is definitely up there. I like that quite a bit. I like Ratchet and Clank a lot too. I love what Insomniac Games does with Spider-Man, but I don't know if I could call Spider-Man a PlayStation franchise. That's Marvel, They got the license, the good fortune to be able to make Spider-Man games, but that's not like a Sony IP, you know what I mean? Yeah, God of War might be it, because God of War goes back. There's actually not a whole lot of early PlayStation Sony-made franchises. You've got Gran Turismo that's still around from PS1, but like Sly Cooper, you don't see that around these days. Jak and Daxter, you don't see that around. And a lot of what made early PlayStation successful was third party. So you like Tony Hawk, Tomb Raider, Metal Gear Solid, Castlevania, Croc, all third party. You know, you like Battle Arena Toshiden, Tekken 3, Street Fighter Alpha, Mega Man X, Dino Crisis, Resident Evil, like all third party. So, yeah, if you really get to like Sony's top franchises, Uncharted, Ratchet and Clank, God of War. I would like to see Insomniac Games make a full-on X-Men game. Wow, would that be something? Woo! I know we have Wolverine in a year or two coming out. I think it's like 2027 title. I don't know. Let's see. Boobitty saying, it took me a while to get into Breath of the Wild because it was so different from previous Zelda games. Initially, I didn't like it, but then I got used to it and loved TOTK. Yeah. See, that's a good point. I mean, it's so different, but wasn't, in a way, Skyward Sword so different than Tears of Twilight Princess? In some ways, no, it was like this, forward progressing 3D Zelda game, but with a very different art style than Twilight. Mandatory motion controlled aiming mechanics, sword swinging mechanics and stuff. Crash and Spyro, but they didn't own them. Yeah, exactly. Like other good examples. I mean, even going back, you could say like, well, Nintendo didn't own Banjo-Kazooie, but for all we knew at the time, Rare was 50% basically owned by Nintendo. So seeing Banjo-Kazooie on Nintendo 64 and the sequel Banjo-Tooie, that was treated as Nintendo's, GoldenEye, licensed, like Spider-Man. That's from James Bond. Perfect Dark, internal from Nintendo, even though it's from Rare. Now, as history would go, Nintendo would sell Rare half its stock back. Microsoft would buy the whole company for a couple $100 million, and that's it. But at the time, yeah, Nintendo had a lot stronger first-party support than PlayStation. And actually, even to this day, well, now it's even more apparent that they do. I mean, Sony has Horizon, and that has a couple of entries, But they got some variety. Microsoft has a lot. From early Microsoft days on Xbox to Xbox 360, with that Rare acquisition, you had Halo, Forza, Project Gotham Racing, and then eventually Gears of War. You owned Conquer. You had Cameo, Grabbed by the Ghoulies. You ended up getting Killer Instinct as well, and Battletoads. You did some thing with those. Blast Corps, Jet Force Gemini, they kind of came into like a compilation package. You tried your hand at Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts, but too much time went by without doing anything major with the Rare stuff. Perfect Dark should be a powerhouse in the Xbox brand these days, and it fizzled. And like, how devastating is it to see that PD is just gone? They just canceled it. Jude Kerman, hi, welcome. Infamous was good, yeah. Let's see. Brian C. liked Last of Us, but not the story of 2. Crazy Scott, you didn't like Last of Us. Crazy Scott, Uncharted and God of War. Favorite 2 from Sony. Yeah. Pokemon Fan 34, Crash and Spyro. Oh yeah, that one I read. I'm reading that comment too, on the twist and stuff. Yeah, I'm caught up to the chat. Cool. Yeah, the chat is a fun thing because I do like to read every comment, but in doing so, that will take a little bit of time. I try not to take too long per comment because I don't want so much time to go by that you're like, okay, you're talking to us now about something that I mentioned 15 minutes ago and I don't even know what you're talking about anymore. Like, that's not relevant. Someone else in the chat answered my question. So I don't do that. But I also don't want to rush through the question, you know? I want to give it time. But now that we're all caught up, yeah. We went over a little bit of what you all want the direct to be, some thoughts, some favorite franchises. That's fun. Do you think there will be 2 directs in September or just one? Don't worry, Nate reads stuff from an hour old. Yeah, that's kind of funny. I mean, well, to be fair, Nate also has a much bigger audience where it's like 200, 300 people in there. But it is true. Sometimes he'll read something or he'll say something, so you might respond, but if the chat's firing off, like here's 30 minutes later reading that thing, and it's like, oh, that joke was funny, but you're reading it now. I don't know if it's funny anymore. But he also does a really good job of like picking it up live, and especially if he's asking a question. And of course, if you're properly atting the person, that helps. Yeah. I think there's going to be... Oh, boy. I'm going to go with 2 Nintendo Directs for September. I'll say September 3rd and September 17th. It probably makes more sense to... Well, I was going to say, it probably makes more sense to spread them out than put them together, but that might not necessarily be the case. I think it's the case because if I were Nintendo, I would want to be in the news constantly. You had a little partner showcase. You got some people talking. Nintendo's in the conversation. Then you have a little bit of a break, and here is an indie world. Nintendo's once again being talked about in conversation, popping up on X and social media, people talking on Facebook, people sharing YouTube links to trailers back and forth, websites creating news stories on it, speculating what's next, etc. And then September 3rd comes around, early in the month. Big Nintendo Direct. Is it too early for a big one, September 3rd? Maybe, but maybe they have it then. And then you let 2 weeks go by. You give a good opportunity for third parties to show off stuff like, okay, well, here's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, including a release date. Here's a little tease remake, and then here's a little tease at Rebirth, just saying, coming 2026. Here's a new look at Duskbloods, giving you now a quarter of 2026, not just when. Here's some Kirby Air Riders footage, actual gameplay, and a release date. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, and a release date. Metroid Prime 4, and a release date. And some update in some capacity of Metroid Prime 2 and 3, whether it's remastered or HD or what. Right? And you have a couple of other little third-party things here and there. I don't know if you do Silk Song at it. I'm going to say no just to be safe. Maybe a couple of NSO updates in there, like a Pokemon Gale of Darkness or a Pokemon Coliseum. And you finish off with one surprise. Wishful thinking, Star Fox, easy. And that's a good Nintendo Direct. dates of what we know about that we just don't have the dates of, including some gameplay footage for the first time for stuff like Air Riders, and then in a way, Duskblood's, how does it work navigating through the world and all that stuff. And then just one more title. A couple NSO drops. Good enough. And then September 17th. A little bit of time went by. Cool third-party stuff. Some shadow drop. Some stuff coming out soon. September, October, November releases. Metroid Prime 4, November 20th. September 17th, Charles Martinet's birthday. Here you've got that Nintendo Super Mario Bros. 40th Anniversary Direct. That's what I would like to see. Mr. Chicken Lad, yes, second stream. Brian C, you'll take that. Date, good. A designated or dedicated, either way. Metroid Direct, I think they'll do it a couple of weeks before Metroid Prime 4. Since I think Metroid Prime 4 is coming out November 20th, I think we get like a Metroid Prime 4 Nintendo Direct early November. But we have to see what their plan is with 2 and 3, if anything. Do they just do 2 on NSO? I don't know. And 3, there is no Wii channel on NSO. So do you just put Wii as its own a la carte release on eShop for $30 or something like that? Especially if it's not getting like an HD remastered upgrade. I don't know. The demo games will get dates. Nate thinks October for a Direct. I don't know if they skip September because that would mean if they skip September, that means Kirby Air Riders isn't likely to come out in September. Now, I don't know if it will come out that time anyways, but it sure then makes you like, okay, October, November, December, there's not a lot of time for some games to come out, and you kind of want to spread Kirby, Metroid, Hyrule Warriors apart and Pokemon apart so that these 4 big games coming out in the end of the year aren't just all 4 in 2 months. 3 months, that's okay. Over 4 months, I think that's a little bit better. Give more people time to play them. Give more time for people to save up money for them to sell. Even though that they're slightly different audiences, it still is people's money, right? People's wallets. Michael Gutmann, hello. If I didn't say hi earlier, welcome back. I think they need it early to give a release date for their September game. If it's like, say, a September 20th or so release date. Yeah. Now, if the game wasn't that big, they could do just a out now. But you would want some marketing to lead up before Kirby Air Riders. If Splatoon Raiders is this year, you'd want more than a next week coming out, right? I mean, you don't need 6-month press tour and stuff like that for Kirby Air. Did I say Kirby Air Riders? Kirby Raiders. There's a crossover. Kirby Air Riders and Splatoon Raiders. Splatoon Raiders. Splatoon Riders. Splatoon Kirby. Splatoon Air Riders. Just coming up with some weird crossover. Yeah, like that's another one. Splatoon. That might be 5 games coming out this year. It's almost not like too many. Nintendo, spread it out. But we'll see. Splatoon doesn't have a calendar year yet for it. Nate thinks, in general, that Mario would have a September. Oh, and Metroid Prime 4 Direct in October. Yeah, I could be on board with an October Metroid Direct if Metroid's coming out in November, like 1 month in advance, 3 weeks in advance. Yeah. Heck, unless if Metroid Prime 4 Beyond happens to be an October game and it's like, hey, 2 weeks later or something, here you go. Jude, what are your plans for the PGN website? You know, for a while, the website was having back to consistent, regular, once a week Famitsu sales. And then I kind of converted to just posting on X, that kind of stuff. We had some Indie Mania rallying before also on PGN on the website. And going further back, oh, it was everything. It was news, it was rumors, it was martial arts tutorial, unique video game stories with friends, shout outs, stuff on wrestling, like a lot. Paul Gale Network, the website's been around for quite a while. 2007? Yeah. Woo! 18-year-old website. I know that's not like the oldest, farthest back in the internet, but for a website to still be around 18 years later, it's quite a long time. Nowadays, it's not getting a whole lot of love and attention, so I don't have any immediate plans for it. I'll still do some updates. I'll do some video game stuff on it still, talking Nintendo Switch 2 and whatnot. But good question. Just no new update at this time, unfortunately, on the website. Yeah. Maybe down the road I'll reinvigorate it in some capacity. Once in a while I think of like it would be cool to refresh and get back into the regular swing of things, updating and stuff like that, but kind of depends on schedule and this and that. Yeah. Splatoon Raiders, yeah. FF7 remake, Elden Ring, that's another one. See, like Silk Song coming out this year, Elden Ring, these are some big titles. I'm caught up again. Let's see. I voiced my thoughts earlier on this stream and what to realistically expect out of it, because I realized, hey, there's 16 of you in here now and 14 likes. So thank you. 16 viewers, 14 likes. That's pretty sweet. But the thing that I was mentioning earlier is, yeah, unlike yesterday's stream, this one doesn't have any title, beyond PGN Live. It has a little bit of a graphic that's new that says top super chat. So anybody who does a super chat in this stream, whoever the top one is, I'm going to give you a shout out and have your name there throughout the stream. Top gifted, whoever does a gifted membership, or whoever does one or does the most or whatever, I'm going to give you a shout out there. Probably pick yellow or green, or your color of choice, maybe pink, blue, white, I don't know, whatever. So, but the point is, like, aside from the visual being a little bit different over here, there's no attachment to the name and the subject beyond PGN Live, and the last time I did it, it does have a little bit of a subtitle, which is important, especially earlier going of, well, no one's searching the internet for PGN Live. It's too early. People are searching for Nintendo Direct rumors or video game discussion, Zelda, right? So I'll have to take that in consideration. But still, almost 20 people in here now. This morning's live, this vertical one, was like 227 or something. So that was quite cool. Let's see. You think those games that you mentioned, like 7 Remake and stuff, will get dates for Switch 2 at Gamescom? That would be nice. At Open Night Live. That would be nice. Brian C. wishes Madden didn't have the stutter issue. Would have liked to pick it up, but now going to wait for a while when it's $15 to $20. So I've watched a few videos on Madden, and it looks like the game has a little bit of an optimization problem going on multiple SKUs of it, that it's not inherently just a Nintendo Switch 2 problem. Whoa, look at that! Wow! I get to try something new right now. First of all, huge thank you to Brian C. Well, let me get this in here. Helps me a lot. So Brian C., thank you very much one more time for the $5, the $4.99. And Mustache Man, thank you very much once again for the $2. I appreciate it. You are the man, Paul. Rock on. Thank you so much. I'm grateful for it. Hopefully this is not too janky of a little bit of a highlight to give a little shout out, a little thanks, where it says top super chat. See, like right there, Brian C. in yellow, Mustache Man in green. That's kind of cool. I'll have to get better at it where I'm like, okay, this is a designated section. Maybe use something other than Microsoft Paint. Have the amount next to it so you see it, know it. But let's get back to the stream. But thanks again. So the Madden thing. That was the last thing that I think we were talking about. And to my understanding, there's little hitches and frame rate skips in multiple versions, but it might be a little bit more noticeable in Nintendo Switch 2. It seems like it's a little bit of an optimization problem, and not that like, oh, the system can't handle it. Like, it looks good. And actually, in my eyes, now, I haven't played either version, like PS5, Xbox, Nintendo. I haven't played anything of this new entry. So I can't say. But just looking online, I'm like, the game looks good overall, running everywhere, including Nintendo Switch 2. So I think a lot of people will have just fine of a time playing it. But I don't think it's so broken, certainly not missing any, grand mode or anything, that EA could probably do a patch to help buff out some of these errors on all three versions, or at least hopefully mostly for the Nintendo Switch 2 version that is the most compromised, You want the game key card for Madden? Yeah. WWE 2K, that seems to be a better port overall. That's one that I would like to get. Brian C, top primer, top networker. Michael Gutmann, I like these. That's funny. Brian C, oh, I know it's not just Switch problem. Oh, okay, so you know that. C2, that. Yeah, I meant Hades does not look right on Switch 2. Hades? I played Hades 2 for Nintendo Switch 2 at the Nintendo Switch 2 experience in Los Angeles, and it was fantastic. I loved it. Oh, my early impressions of Hades 2 was really good. I loved the first one, so unless you're talking about how the original Hades runs on Switch 2, that I don't know. I haven't gone back and played that one yet, so I don't know for sure. Gonna wait for FIFA and NBA 2K to go on sale too. Yeah, FC should be a good get. Holy cow, the chat jumped up a bunch. Let's see. A physical copy, yeah. Don't understand why people are getting digital over a key card. I think if someone has no intention of selling their game, which is the benefit of the key card, and they like the easy accessible nature of having all games instantly available, then digital might be better because they both eat up valuable storage space. If you think you're going to sell, or if you'd like to physically lend out a game to a friend, schoolmate, classmate, co-worker, whatever, sell it, stuff like that. Yeah, game key card gives you a little bit more of that tangible ownership, but convenience-wise, game key card isn't as good in that regard as digital, because digital you can just home menu, boop, scroll over, boop, go in. Depending on how your setup is, maybe you don't want to walk back and forth from the couch to do a key card, but you would be willing to do so for a physical cartridge. We're helping you practice, Paul. Thank you, Mustache Man. Had to find a sticker you'd enjoy. I did, Brian C. Thank you. Vita Libido. Hello. Welcome. Brian, see, I'd probably go digital for it since it's kind of a pain to switch cartridges for something I'd play a good bit. That's a good point when it comes to the key cards. That's what I was just saying. Like right now, it's really weird. I have Donkey Kong Bonanza as my only physical Switch cartridge. Oh, I'll tell you one more little benefit, I guess, of digital over game key card. It's cheaper because there's no tax on eShop. If it's $50, it's $50. If you're going in the store, maybe it's $55. You know. Now, you cannot sell your $50 digital ownership later on, but you can sell your once $55 game key card, no longer have access to the game yourself, but sell the game key card and get $20 back or something like that, right? Yeah, there's pros and cons either way, I suppose. If you could, KAG asks, if you could have any game announced for Switch 2, what would it be? That's a good one. Not hypothetical stuff. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Yeah. Hold on, let me make sure. Anything that has been announced so far for Nintendo Switch 2. Not going to La La Land and being like, oh yeah, Ocarina of Time, 3D, remake. But anything announced. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. I played it. Loved my demo time. Want more of it. Pretty confident that it's going to be like a 9.5 game rankings Metacritic title. Game of the Year contender. Yeah. How about you? I really want college football, then they could keep Madden. You know, Brian C., I've got a friend that would much rather have NCAA also than Madden because he's a big college football fan. Just likes that atmosphere better. Coming from a big school himself, so. Yeah. Yeah, we haven't had like a big NCAA push in football in quite some time. They said, oh, where am I? The chat is, oof, I'm having a hard time to keep up. More people are coming in here. Huh. Slow down. Or just kidding. You don't have to slow down. Just bear with me as I try to give a good answer to each person. They said Scarlet and Violet was so broken, but I beat the entire game without noticing anything wrong. You know what? Vila Libido, good point. I think Scarlet and Violet garnished a little bit too much hate because you had such a tremendous amount of people playing it. And whenever you have a really big populace, you have more of every type of person come out, for better or worse. You have more good, more bad, more praise, more complainers, more that try to find the positive in it, more that tried to break the game down to show the bad. And we have such a volume, you have, even if it's a small percentage, you have a decent amount of people, seemingly so, having complaints, posting negative videos and clipping and this and this. Not that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet didn't have their problems. It's not an infallible title or anything, but is a little bit blown out of proportion because aside from me looking at the game and being like, yeah, the game could look better and stuff, I never experienced some groundbreaking glitch either, you know? This is EA, Pokemon fan regarding Madden. NBA 2K is exciting. Let's see, 60, maybe Hades 1, frame per second. Oh, you're talking about Hades 1. See to that. Michael Gutmann. I don't understand why people are getting digital over keycard if they have always gotten physical in the past. I think it's one of those things, like I said earlier, digital is convenient and it's cheaper and they both take up the same amount of space. Game key card has that resale factor, that maybe a little bit of an easier lending factor, but you still have to get off the couch. Cartridge, you have to get off the couch too, but at least it might be worth it for you because you're not eating up your valuable hard drive space. You know? Let's see. You'd buy it physical, if it's physical. Rebel against digital key cards. Funny conversations going back and forth. Volume is really low for me compared to another live stream I was just watching. Not sure if that's an issue for anyone else. Upside Down Jim, thank you for bringing that to my attention. If anybody else in the chat wants to answer or add to the conversation that Upside Down Jim is talking about, do I sound too low? I could see if I could tinker with making it higher. Let's see. True physical games have game data on the cartridge key. Cards don't. Yeah, that's true. Rebelling. What was the reason you buy physical? People gonna buy physical. Collecting and resell. Joycey J, hi again. Hello again, Joycey. Second time today. You could always use your username and password if you really want to sell your digital copies. Yeah, Beetle, yeah, that's true. Brian C. I like having the physical copies, so I will deal with the inconvenience of card swapping. Also, I buy a lot of games, so if I buy too many digital, it becomes a pain to re-downloading stuff. And that's why we need... I mean, you could always play Refrigerator and download and delete and re-download and delete, but that's kind of annoying. You want to have a nice micro SD express card. For me, I know not to buy one until I get a 1 terabyte one for an affordable rate, because otherwise I'm just going to eat up a 256 awfully quick. And if I really transfer over a bunch of Nintendo Switch games, in which, by the way, the vast majority were cartridge, but these upgrades take half a gig at a time or so, I'm going to eat up a 512 fast before I really get deep into the Nintendo Switch 2 library in a couple of years from now. So I need a terabyte card. In 30 years, when the servers shut down, key cards will become e-waste since you can't download the game from the eShop. People better have these things downloaded ahead of time. I mean, there's always risk with anything. Discs could get scratched. Metal could get corroded. Batteries could explode. Cartridge could get stepped on. Internet could go down. Server could die out. Nothing is, permanent, probably. There are some better than others. I mean, you could keep care of some and be, in terms of ownership and how well you treat that belonging, better than others, right? But everything has a little bit of a risk factor in falling apart or something. See, that 256 card is so full, Michael Gutmann. I know. Beetle Libido, Wii U and PS3 you can still re-download your games, yeah. So, whole server shutting down in 100 years, just poppycock, fear-mongering. I mean, yeah. There's a little bit of a stretch in like, oh, I'm not going to be able to download this thing and play it in 30 years. How many people, if there's anyone in the chat right now, have their NES hooked up and ready to go and play it regularly? I would be surprised if it's more than a few people right now in the chat have a 30-year-old system hooked up, all games ready to go to your TV and the whole thing, and actually play it regularly. I have my NES still hooked up. I have all my old school games right next to it ready to go. It's hooked up to the TV. AC power outlet is just not connected, but it can be connected. But do I play my old NES games regularly? No. So I like the thought of having them accessible because they are. I like that I own them still and I can look at them on the shelf still and be like, cool boxes. That makes me happy and nostalgic. But, not all playable. I'm not playing all of them, but you still want to have ownership and you want to have the access. You might want to pass them on to your kids and stuff like that, or sell them, maybe from a collector standpoint. There's a lot of reasons we buy games and want to have it still available, you know? Let's see. Let me go for Yakuza 0, Madden Digital. Real reason you buy true physical games is to make sure you always have the games decades down the road. How many games are stuck on older consoles? Tons. Yeah, there are some games that just are stuck, and if they don't get re-released, it's not like Terminator 2 available on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, Blu-ray, digital, pay-per-view. You know, video games aren't always released. You have plenty of ways to watch Terminator 2. You don't have to bust out your old VCR and pop in the VHS. But games aren't that way. Do you always want to watch Terminator 2? Probably not always, but you can when you want to. Do you always want to play The Rocketeer on NES? No, probably not. But if you did, your options are very limited if you wanted to play The Rocketeer on NES. You know, you got to go back to NES. I don't know if that game has been re-released since. It might have. I think it actually might have. We need bigger game card sizes. Dank Meme Center X. Welcome, by the way. Travesty for WWE 2K25. Shake my head. LOL. Man, yeah. See, here's the thing, like, I would be like, release WWE 2K for $70, game key card, digital, and $80 for the cartridge. And on that cartridge, fill 64 gigabytes of that 64 gigabytes up, and do have on the box, note, an additional 12 gigabyte download must be an additional 12 gigabytes of data must be downloaded in order to get the game's full experience. So be it. I would have the vast majority of the game and maybe Hell in a Cell or some small mode or a couple of cages or arenas locked on the need to download it. And am I owning all of the game on one cartridge? No, because they couldn't shrink it all down to 64. It was 76. So do I still have to download 12? Yeah, but 12 doesn't eat up my storage as much as 76 does. And I still have most of the game on the physical. So, whatever. And spend $80. Fine. Take an extra $10. At least I have most of the game physical. Right? That would be my preference. Let's see. To be honest, I don't care if in 20 to 30 years the servers shut off. I won't be playing these games anyways. I'll be playing the new games in 2050. Michael Goodman, that's true. That's true. Let's say definitely not if it's playable on Switch 2. It's not getting played. There are even some games I bought digital and don't have physical. Smash and Animal Crossing. Yeah, Animal Crossing is actually one that I intentionally purchased digitally because I wanted it always on the system. It was that time, made the most sense to have that one always on the system. So, yeah, sometimes it's down to the particular game. Mustache Man 2, or Mustache Man. I have my GameCube and PS2 hooked up and play it regularly. Playing through Xenosaga right now. You can't play that legally right now. Yeah, Xenosaga's a good game. Xenosaga, Xenogears, I wouldn't mind seeing those come back. Yeah. And GameCube and PS2, they had a lot of good hits. And you're right, there are some titles from that era that aren't playable. I mean, not a lot, but enough that if you're in the mood for, like you said, Xenosaga, what are you supposed to do? You know? Beautiful Joe, right? That's another one. Beautiful Joe came out on Nintendo GameCube. Eventually, the PS2 got a port. I don't think off the top of my head you could play Beautiful Joe elsewhere. Yeah. Michael Gutmann. Most entertainment is very expensive. If you buy a $70 game and play 70 hours, then you paid $1 an hour for entertainment. Even if the servers go down, I have my entertainment. True. You know, video games are more affordable in that context than movies. I mean, in a movie theater movie, if you pay $20 to go see a 2-hour film, you didn't own it. You just experienced it for 2 hours. Done. Triple that cost, $60, yet triple the entertainment, 6 hours. No, you're going to get far more entertainment. So buying a game, I would say, will give you more joy overall, plus you own it, than going to a theater to see a movie. Yeah. I love gaming. Best medium. You could read it, you could play it, have different experience in what you do controlling it, plenty of different genres to go by. You could hear it. It's got music, it's got voice acting, it's got visuals, cinematography, camera angles, action, comedy, like rumble, sensory, haptic, responsive, dexterity. You're a part of the form of entertainment. So you read, you watch, you move. Yeah, gaming is my favorite. And I like reading, books, comic books, TV shows, movies, music, sporting events, pay-per-views, some sports more than others, but gaming's where it's at for me. I never wanted to play Rocketeer in the first place, but Joyce CJ. That's funny. Oh, geez. Rocketeer was one of my very first NES games that I got. That was in, July 7th, 1989. I got my NES, the Rocketeer for NES, Super Mario Brothers, and Duck Hunt. The Rocketeer crossover Pizza Hut personal pan pizza with the files of the Rocketeer and the paper airplane that you could make out of like the paper cardboard that came with it to look like the Rocketeer, and seeing the Rocketeer in the drive-in. That was a good time. Man. Oh, that was funny. Mustache Man has the VCR hooked up, watches Digimon movie last week. That's cool. Yeah, there is something different about it. A few years ago, I think it was during like the COVID era, I watched at my parents' house The Lion King on VHS with my kids on an old school boob tube TV. That was pretty fun. Could you imagine what our backlog would look like in 30 years? Fetal libido, yeah. It's gonna be bad. Dank Meme Center X, yeah, that would have been fine by me, especially if it included the reverse cover art for the Bloodline edition. Let's see. That's a great compromise for cart size. They should hire you. They should hire me. I know what's up. Thank you, Brian. See? Mustache Man. All I'm saying is, don't be a victim. You have the power to own the things you love right now before you give that up to your favorite billion-dollar company. Dank Meme Center X. To be fair, Bandai said Xenosaga wasn't profitable to bring back, but that was before Xenoblade Chronicles 2 popped off and Xenoblade Chronicles 3 got more eyes. Yeah. Have you read Wheel of Time? No. I don't believe so. No. It's okay, Paul. None of us are perfect, Joyce CJ. Yeah. Oh, dang. Michael Gutmann. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that little raid turned out pretty fun. I mean, it looks like y'all looked at both Player Essence's stream and Rogers Base's stream, and Rogers happened to be on members only. So I saw like a good 6 people, I would say, go over to OJ's stream And that was pretty cool because
That,
he saw it, and even though, you know, he had no problem getting people in his own stream, he acknowledged it. He thought it was cool. He said thank you and stuff, and that was fun. You know, no thanks needed. That's just friends helping each other out. Speaking of which, let's see. How long have we been going? In our second stream today, the first one was like 50 minutes or so. This time, we've been going for an hour 17. That's matching like Monday's time, right? That's been fun. Alrighty. What's the worst accessory you own? What's the worst accessory I own? I'm trying to think. I typically buy the accessories if I buy accessories, it's what I know I'm going to like. Like, oh, I want a good arcade fight stick, so I do my research ahead of time and I buy it. Oh, I'm curious what VR is going to look like through Nintendo's vision, and even if it's not going to be the full support with the head strap and all this kind of stuff, it's going to have some Nintendo charm and Labo. Like, it's going to be fun. Dang. I don't have a bad accessory on the top of my head right now. Like, for me, I would say like the plastic steering wheels and stuff like that. See, I don't own them because they're not for me. But if I was just like given a plastic steering wheel for Wii back in the day or for the Joy-Con, I'd be like, this doesn't add too much more to the experience than just holding the Wii remote like this. I could do that. If it's tethered to a pole, a column, right, and I'm moving the steering wheel around as such, it's a little bit different. But if it's just the aspect of something more circular to move than a rectangle, that would be kind of unnecessary for me. I knew someone back in the day, and he got like this cheap bundle of plastic several years into Wii's life, and all he wanted for Christmas from his parents was like a new Naruto fighting game for Wii. And what they got him was this cheap plastic accessory kit that you put your Wii remote in for Wii Sports to make it like a bowling ball, and it was just a plastic bowling ball that you stuck the Wii remote into. It was like a boxing glove piece of plastic that you held in your hand and you put the Wii remote on top of. It was a Wii remote, little tiny. Oh my gosh. Tennis racket extension that you stuck on it and you swung it around. Oh, what else did it have? It was like that. A little plastic golf club like this big that you stuck to the side of the Wii remote and you just swung it. That was the that would have like he was on the borderline of crying. This probably was 2010, so it's not even like Wii is new because we both got it at launch in 06. Like, oh wow, you're playing these sports games in 3D and moving around for the first time in motion technology, and it's all cool, and like, yeah, you're into it a little bit more because this little baseball bat, you got a little plastic, but it's not like, oh, baseball bat proper, but like a little plastic baseball bat that you just stick inside the Wii remote. Like, so janky, so silly. It probably had even something for yoga, like a little wristband, like a yoga sweatband that you connected to the Wii remote strap or something. Like, not just at launch though, but like 4 years in. So it was like, yeah, I'm not playing Wii Sports every day, anymore. And all he wanted was a game. So, anyways, so that's not my story, but that's someone else's story. Yeah, I don't really have dang all of that from what's it called? Dang Meme Center X's question of what's the worst accessory I own? Nothing really. Nothing I can think of. Prime is live at 9 p.m. Yeah. I'm actually gonna end this soon, but before I do, I'm gonna do another raid to Player Essence's stream again, which is going on live. And you could all, I don't want to be telling you what to do with your time, but even for a minute or two, if you don't mind hopping in there to Player Essence, show them a little bit of support, say raid coming from Gale Network or something like that. That would just be cool. I'll be in there for a little bit too. And then later on, yeah, Nate's got his podcast tonight on Nintendo Prime. You can watch it there. You can watch it Thunderstash. You could watch it on any of those channels and have a good time. You like the live streams more than the podcast? You like both? Learn things? Funny, great chemistry? Yeah, everyone there is cool. Like the podcast, but like the lives better. They're both fun. Yeah. Remember those? They have stuff like that for Switch. Yeah. Informed Gamer. Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, thank you all for being here again. Boo Mini, I don't know if you're still here, but thank you for this morning's top gifted. If I could have put you in this morning's top gifted, I would have done so. It's just the vertical stream didn't have it, and I'm trying to do something like this here for the horizontal streams, a little something. So I'm gonna bounce. Appreciate you all being here. The worst thing you owned was a microphone for PS2, as it was for just one game. Oh, I guess to answer that, you just reminded me. Blue Ocean for Wii, I bought that, and it came with a microphone just for that one game. I don't know if I'd say worse thing I own, because the thing itself works fine, but but yeah, that's kind of funny that you said that. Okay. Thanks again, everyone, for being here. Brian C., Mustache Man, thank you for the super chats. Just remember, if we don't get Ocarina of Time remake, I demand a full refund of those gifted memberships. Oh, no! Okay, you'll get that Ocarina of Time remake one day, I promise. I'll see you all later. I have a feeling I'll be back on tomorrow. This is Player Essence. I'm going to hop over there in a moment to say hi and be in the chat for a little bit. If you want, for a couple of minutes even, go over there and say Gale Network raid. And yeah, that'll be kind of fun to hop in OJ's stream and see some of you there. But thanks again for being here for the last hour, 25 or so minutes. It was a lot of fun talking to you all. And take care.